Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for being here today for Doug and his family. And on behalf of Route Song, we do appreciate your presence. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind taking out your cell phones and putting them on silent or turning them off so that you receive uninterrupted, we sure would appreciate that. Thank you very much. And in a moment, we're going to have Celebrate with Brian Bennett get started with the service today. So again, thank you all for being here today. Ooh, and one last note, for scheduling purposes, just wanted to let you know we are having a reception following. There will be plenty of food, beer and wine, and all that good stuff. So I'd like to invite you all to stick around for that and continue to share stories.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, like Sam said, thank you all for being here. I'm sure on behalf of the family, it's so great to see friends and family at a time like this. You know, I always love to come early to catch stuff. I gotta be honest, you guys are a little rowdy. And I think that's fitting because here in the last 10 years or so, you're hearing what we're doing here today less and less referred to as a funeral and more referred to as a life celebration. And I love that change because by all accounts, when I got to sit back and hear Doug's story, this is a life celebrate. And I'm a celebrant. Like many of you, I have a normal day job, but I do this with the Route Songs for a couple of reasons. I believe the Route Song team really better than anybody in Dayton. It means so much to them to take care of your family today. I do this on a personal level for a couple of reasons. About 14 years ago, I lost my mom to cancer, and then here a few years ago, we lost our first grandbaby. And so doing what we're doing here today, like coming together, seeing pictures, exchanging hugs, telling stories, it is so important to the healing process. So I'm so honored to be able to be here with you guys today. When I was able to, I spent quite a bit of time with Steve, and I said, I believe that every life is a story that deserves to be told. I absolutely believe that, because we can learn from stories, be encouraged by them, inspired by them. And so I sat back, and Steve just did a great job of being able to share his story on behalf of the family. And that's exactly why we're here today. One of my favorite authors is a guy named Frederick Bachman. I was reading one of his books the other night, and one of the paragraphs just popped off the page. It said, "Over time, I've realized that deep down, almost everyone asks themselves the same sort of questions about life. Am I good? Do I make anyone proud? Am I useful to society? Am I good at my job? Am I considered generous and considerate? Does anyone want me to be their friend? Have I been a good parent? Am I a good person? Did my life matter?" And you guys are showing in such a strong way today that does life matter, doesn't it? Yes. And it sounds like he could go down that list and check yes, 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 and yes to all of those things. But I'm a big believer in something that I call holy collisions. And what I mean by that is, if you think back over the course of our lives, there are a few times that we're lucky enough to run into the exact right person at the exact right time of our lives for the exact right reason that we were supposed to meet that person. You might be sitting next to one of your holy collisions right now. You think back that first moment you met, and who talked to who first, and what was it you saw in each other that led to the significant relationship that it has become. And if you think about it, life is the sum total of those holy collision type of relationships. Well, whenever I have the privilege to do a service like this, I consider this group of people sitting in this room right now, we're our own version of a holy collision. There's no way to explain why this group of human beings would ever be at the same place at the same time, other than whatever your connection is to Doug or Liz or the rest of the family. And let's be honest, when we parked our cars a few minutes ago, we all have things we're worried about, we have decisions we're trying to make. There may be something going on in your life that nobody else in this room is even aware of. And all those things are going to be waiting for us when we get back in our cars in a little bit. So my hope and my prayer is that by the time we leave here in a few minutes, we're all going to have a little bit better perspective on life, simply because we took a few minutes to pay attention to his story. And I think that's entirely possible. So if you're comfortable joining me, I'd like to just share with you a quick word of prayer. Okay, let's pray. God, I thank you for this holy collision of friends and family who've been able to come together all the collective memories and conversations and experiences that were together. And thank you for all those relationships and what they mean. And thank you for Doug and the way that he lived his life. And you have promised that when life gets difficult, that you will find ways to bring us comfort and peace, even beyond our ability to understand how you did it. So that's my prayer today, is that by the few minutes that we have together here today, by the stories that will be told over the meal afterwards, that the healing process will start today, but continue days, weeks, months, and even years down the road. So thank you for being with us in this room. In your name we pray these things. Amen. You know, his life started 88 years ago in Indiana. Took him to the Miami University and then to the Ohio State campus. And I had to admit, I'm not a Buckeye guy. I grew up in Illinois. I was going to tease you and say I'm a Michigan guy, but I thought that might get me kicked out before we get further. But I understand that one of his most important holy collisions, way back before dating apps and all that kind of thing, that a high school quarterback could beat a high school cheerleader. And I got to meet Liz here a few minutes ago and hear a little bit of that love story. And whatever happened in that moment worked, because that marriage has lasted 67 years. And I think that should be congratulated. That's just an amazing feat in life. And the amazing thing about that is that if they hadn't met and whatever hadn't happened, this entire group is not even sitting here. They literally changed the course of history for everybody in this room right now. Well, obviously, I didn't have the privilege of knowing that this room was filled with people who did, so I'm going to get out of the way for the next few minutes. And here we're going to hear from some people that are doing best. So we're going to start with Chris, and then Katie is going to share, and then Steve's going to come up and share after that. So Chris, come on.
Hello, everybody. So I just wanted to share something I wrote about my grandfather. So, do you ever find yourself trying to think back and bring some of your first childhood memories to the forefront of your brain? You know, at least for me, snapshots will start to appear. Of course, your memories are flooded with brothers and sisters and mom and dad. But when I think back, most of my happiest memories were experienced with my grandparents. Growing up, swimming in my grandparents' pool, 4th of July with huge fireworks, Ohio State football games, loads of presents every Christmas, trips to the beach at Boca Grande, trips to Vail. And I really started to take for granted how spoiled I was. And when you think about all those memories, the face behind a lot of those was Grandpa Doug. As I grew up, I developed a very special bond with my grandfather. I think that really kicked in when I was in about middle school. When you think of a middle school boy's sense of humor, fart and dick jokes, a lot of people would say I continued to grow up, but my sense of humor stayed at that middle school level. Well, my grandfather also stayed. A lot of the stories are appropriate for this occasion, but there were countless times when he would have me and my friends in tears laughing. I'll never forget his eyes lighting up when we talked that a beaver wasn't just an animal. I was very blessed to grow up so close to all my grandparents on both sides, which made us a very close family. I could probably count on two hands the amount of football practices my grandfather missed as I was playing. If there was any event, anything else kids needed, any support, he was always there. Besides a sense of humor, he had an incredibly huge heart. We all knew he would do anything for us and our family, and he showed that. He will be blessed. I consider myself very blessed to spend 36 years of my life with him. So our Grandpa Doug, he never met a stranger, and I think everyone here was touched by him. Well, we know the women were at least. But in all seriousness, he was a great man who left behind a great family. I hope I can leave behind the same type of legacy he did that my dad continues to carry on. Thank you.
I have some treat for myself and also for my sister who is home in Atlanta, about to have a baby any moment. We should have gone before you. Alright. I'm Katie, I'm the oldest of Doug's 8 grandchildren.
Good. Good.
On Monday, July 1st, after finding out about Papa's passing, my husband asked me to tell him a story about my grandfather. I drew a blank. I couldn't think of a single experience. I tried to hear his voice, his laugh, but nothing came to mind. Grief has not been a stranger to me in recent years. I've lost my dad, a 10-year-old student, and now I'm saying goodbye to my grandma. But if there's one thing grief has taught me, it's that when you lose a person you love, the memories you have of them don't flood your mind right away. They'll return when you're ready for them. So a few nights later, as I snuggled my 2-year-old to sleep, in that quiet and comfort, the memories filled my mind. I remember that on our visits to Ohio, my sister and I always slept on the pull-out couch in Papa Doug's office. I remember him being our alarm clock. He would always wake us up a few minutes before the stock market opened. I'd hear his computer turn on. He was getting ready to do his trading. There was the smell of the bread drawer, the smell of rye, because of how Papa liked on his sandwiches for lunch. I remember my grandparents taking me to my first Ohio State game when I was in 5th grade with Chris. And that there were many more after that, including an unforgettable trip to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. I remember his sweater vests and pullovers in a variety of colors, and I remember being just the right height to peek at his Uber cars when the adults were playing at the dining table. There was a painting that hung in his office for years, an Ohio State helmet that I made for him when I was in high school. He also framed a smiley face doodle that I made for him on a napkin. He was so sentimental and truly valued the small treasures from his family. When I would call and Grandma answered, she and I would talk first, and then she would call Papa to the phone. She would say, "Doug, it's Katie." And almost every time he would answer by saying, "Our Katie." It became something I expected and looked forward to, and it always made me smile. Over the years, I can't count how many times Papa Doug told me life goes by fast. I actually think he said life goes by so damn fast. Make sure you enjoy it. As Papa's family and friends celebrate him and continue on his legacy, I hope that message carries on. Thank you for the memories, Papa Doug, for the amazing experiences you provided our family. We love you, we'll miss you, and we'll think of you often. And then from my sister, who's watching now, I know. Most call him Doug, some call him Dad, but to us, his 8 grateful grandkids, we call him Papa. Papa was the life of the party. He never met a stranger. He led his family by example with his love and generosity. He also led us around the house pretending to be the Ohio State marching band conductor and through the kiddie trails in the woods skiing in Vail. His grandkids would follow him anywhere because it was guaranteed to be a great time. It might not have always been the safest decision, but it was always the most fun. We're also lucky to have known Papa. His sense of humor was unmatched, and he'd give the Ohio State swagger off his back to anyone in need. The love he had for his family, our beautiful grandma, our parents, his grandkids and great-grandkids was undeniable. We are all so close today because both Grandma and Papa always put family first. I never thought, it's weird to be saying this, like, sorry. I never thought I'd miss my Papa's funeral, but God had other plans. Growing up, I always knew if I had a son, I'd name him Cole, after Papa and the family he built. That's how much of a positive impact he had on our lives. He was simply the best. But we are lucky enough to do just that, any day now. And I know Papa will be watching over and smiling down on Cole and his incredible family from heaven for the rest of our lives. Of course, he'll also be having hard talks with God, challenging him as to why Ohio State didn't win every single national championship over the last 60 years. Papa, I will miss your spot on the couch and can't wait for the day we're reunited in heaven and can watch Dr. Shabaka together again. Always with my head on your shoulder and your glass of red wine spritzer resting on your belly. We love you, Papa, and we are forever thankful for the love and support you showed each of us our entire lives.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Chris. It was a tribute to your grandpa. Not many people know this about my dad, but he was abandoned as a baby by his father. Our name technically could be Jordan. And that's kind of starting out life pretty rough. My grandmother remarried Russell Cole, and he adopted my dad. He grew up in Dayton with two working class parents. He loved sports, especially football. He excelled as an athlete, gathering various awards such as All-City Football and All-City Basketball. While attending Fairview High School, he met the love of his life, Liz Bissell. It was the classic story of quarterback meets cheerleader. He was awarded a full scholarship to Miami University, but Liz went to Ohio State. He played quarterback in the Miami freshman football team, but wanted to be with Liz. After the first quarter, he transferred and walked on at Ohio State. He put himself through college with little financial help from his parents. That's always been so interesting to me, that he put himself through college, because it's essentially impossible to do in today's environment. They married at age 20, and I was born 11 months later. My parents had 5 children. Sadly, our sister Linda passed away at 45 years old. Dad never really got over her death. It was the most devastating thing in what was a very well-lived and happy life. He graduated with a degree in business, and his major was accounting, and then he became a CPA. He worked for a few firms and then started his own business. The firm was called Kleckner & Cole. Eventually, they were purchased by a nationwide firm, Alexander Grant, and he was the managing partner of the Dayton office. My dad was a dedicated family man. His life was devoted to his wife, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. But he was much, much more than that. He was a very generous man. He had a guy working for him on a project at his house. The guy was dropped off by his wife. My dad asked if he had a car, and he said he couldn't afford another car, so he gave this guy his old pickup truck. He donated money to the Ohio State Youngkin Center for Underprivileged Student Athletes and has his name on a plaque there. As has already been said, he loved and admired Woody Hayes. He told many stories about Woody and playing football at Ohio State, which obviously is a huge part of our family's life. My mom and dad went there, all 5 children went there, and our 2 sons went there, so 3 generations have all attended the university. If anyone is ever going to a game and wants to tailgate, please join us at the upper level of the Tuttle parking garage, because we will be there. Dad became a recruiter for Ohio State and helped many Centerville players and others in the Dayton area get scholarships. My best guess is he was instrumental in getting about 10 Centerville players full scholarships to Ohio State. One time he was recruiting an underprivileged kid and found out that he had some serious dental problems. He paid a dentist to fix his teeth. Now, I'm pretty sure that would have been an NCAA violation. My dad just wanted to help this young man. When the NCAA eliminated non-affiliated recruiting, he would pick up the phone and call John Cooper or Jim Tressel to recommend they take a look at a player that he saw. Now, he wasn't always perfect. There were a few things that he struggled with. And one was that he had a little bit of a temper. We belonged to Sycamore Creek Country Club, and when the monthly bill came in a giant envelope, everyone immediately cleared the room. Now, my brother Andy was pretty young, maybe about 5 years old then, but he was also one hell of an entrepreneur. He would charge a bunch of candy bars on our account and then sell them to his buddies. Dad was not happy when he figured that out. On the last day of high school, some friends of mine were in my car, and we decided to throw water balloons at the kids walking between classes. When I got home that afternoon, Dad said he got a call from the principal who told him what we were doing. Expecting him to ground me or something else, he said he told the principal, if that's the worst thing he's done in high school, I really can't get mad about that. I was stunned. When I came home from college, I would park my car. We had a driveway that went down a hill, and then the garage was to the left. So I would park my car at the bottom of the driveway. And my sister Sue backed my mom's car out of the garage and dented my car, hit my car. We told our mom, and she said, don't let your dad see that dent. So I turned it around. The next day, Sue backed out and hit the good side. That didn't go well. Many years ago, and out of the clear blue, Dad announced that he wanted to be an accounting professor at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. We were all shocked. He was pushing this idea hard, and so we decided to take a family vote. The vote was 6-1 against. He wasn't happy about that either. He and my mother were at an OSU Michigan game in Ann Arbor. They were sitting next to a couple who were decked out in maize and blue. The guy was sitting next to my dad, and as the game wore on, they started bumping their shoulders and banging them against each other. And so as it got more heated, the wives separated them so they would stop a potential fight. My freshman year at Ohio State, I joined a fraternity. That summer, we had a rush party at our house. The guys got a little inebriated and decided to skinny dip in the pool. My dad walked out and told them to get their swimming suits back on. Some of the guys grabbed him, pantsed him, and threw him in the pool. I thought, OMG, he's going to lose it here, but he thought it was funny. By the way, all my sisters were at the window watching this event. He was not a patient man either. He was driving to Indianapolis Airport with my mother and my sons. There was a traffic jam on I-70 West. It was pouring down rain, and he decided to do a U-turn in the median and got stuck and asked the boys to get out and push. That didn't work either, so they sat there for several hours until a policeman came by and called a tow truck. My dad's parents enjoyed fishing. They would rent a small cottage on Sugar Island, which is close to Sault Ste. Marie. All you did was eat breakfast, fish all morning, eat lunch, fish all afternoon. I absolutely loved it. My sister Sharon went and just absolutely hated it. She was very homesick. My dad jumped in the car, drove 9 hours to pick her up, stayed maybe 10 to 20 minutes, and left to go home. And one of the places my dad loved was Vail, Colorado. Our first trip to Vail was in 1974. And there's 2 other people in this room that were on this trip besides our family. We took a mobile home out there with 12 people. Our family of 7 plus 4 of my friends and a friend of Sue's. Most of us were novice skiers. We were just beginning to learn. and it was like the Beverly Hillbillies went to Vail. We had the wrong gloves, bad equipment, and had absolutely no idea what we were doing. There's a steep mogul run on Vail Mountain called Prima. It's a double black diamond, and it's one of the hardest, steepest runs in the entire mountain. My dad, skiing by himself, went down this run. He couldn't make it without falling, so he tried to sit on his skis and slide down. That didn't work either, but luckily a ski patrolman picked him up, got his skis back on, and helped him down the mountain. And then my friend sitting back in the back, Tim Kinsella, had the same exact problem. And Jimmy O'Donnell was on that trip too. But Jimmy was good, we weren't. It was a memorable trip, and the whole family fell in love with skiing. I often think about my parents taking on the responsibility of all those young people and how amazing that really was. Also letting me, at 17 years old, drive that mobile home in the middle of the night. The last trip to Vail with our entire family was 2018, and I so desperately wanted them to ski one more time, but they just weren't, well, Dad wasn't strong enough, and Mom said, if he's not going to ski, I'm not either, but that was the last time we all went together as a family. My business partner and I started our own company in 1990. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought we could do it. My dad offered his help. He mentored me with accounting support, did our tax returns, and gave me essential advice. The company is still in business, but I'm not sure it would have worked without his help. As my parents' health declined, we moved them to Randall Residence Assisted Living Facility. My dad went there right at the start of the COVID epidemic. When my dad went, you were not allowed in the facility, so we would have to talk to him through a window. When we all were allowed back in the facility, people would walk up to me and ask if I was Doug Cole's son. I guess there might be a small family resemblance. They would tell me how much they loved him and how funny he was. He literally became the mayor of Randall Residence. That was another wonderful quality that he had, was his sense of humor. He would joke around with everyone. I think dads are also teachers. He taught me about responsibility, obligations, gave me great financial advice, taught me how to play sports, and emphasized toughness. Now, some of the things he taught me were appropriate back then, but probably not today. When I was young and hurt myself, I came into the house and was crying. He told me, Steve, men don't cry. He also told me, if you ever get in a fight, make sure you throw the first punch. Speaking about toughness, when he was hospitalized in January with a second bout of pneumonia and was clearly failing, the doctors told Janice and I that he had 1 week to a month to live. He fought the battle for 5 months. And it's really ironic that we were here in February to celebrate the life of Jack O'Donnell. Jack was one of my dad's best friends. It is so bizarre that they passed 5 months apart. I love my dad. He was always there for all of us. I will miss him, but I'm so proud of the way he lived his life and the example he set for our family. I found this poem that I thought was very appropriate for his celebration of life. You held my hand when I was small. You caught me when I fell. You're the hero of my childhood and my latter years as well. And every time I think of you, my heart still fills with pride. Though I'll always miss you, Dad, I know you're by my side. In laughter and in sorrow, in sunshine and through rain, I know you're watching over me until we meet again. Thank you.
I think you'd all agree what a perfect collection of Chris and Katie did a great job. I think Dad was leaning forward. I think when Chris was about to go on a comedy rant, a little nervous, but the family sense of humor was in a great place. Steve, a phenomenal tribute. We all know that OSU is a huge part of his life. So before I close the service, we'd like to take a pause right now and we're going to play Carmen, Ohio. And if you would like to stand, if you're able to, please do that. And we're going to honor this people.
Good.
You know, other than standing in a stadium with 100,000 of your closest friends, I think that's the most powerful version of Carmen, Ohio I've ever heard. You know, I was able to talk to Doug, Steve on the phone, got Doug, and I said, if you learn from your dad, what was it? And he mentioned his fighting spirit, his willingness, how important family was to him, and all of those things. You know, on January the 2nd, I was with my middle son. I have 3 sons, and I was with my middle son. It was a Monday night. As soon as I said which Monday night this was, you're all going to know this. It was a big, exciting time in this part of Ohio, because that night the Bengals were getting ready to play the Bills. And this whole, really the whole country was electric, but this part of Ohio was really electric. And as you already know, that all came to a screeching halt the moment that Damar Hamlin hit the turf. You know, other than 9/11, I don't think I ever remember watching anything more surreal than what took place over the next hour or so. 60,000 fans were immediately silent. These young athletes in the prime of their life were pacing and kneeling and crying and scared and confused, because, you know, even if you expected loss and something sudden like that, just has a way of rocking. And I don't think I've ever heard in the next couple of days so much talk about prayer and miracles, and on ESPN and everywhere you turn, you were hearing that story. And evidently it worked, because a couple of days later, as you already know, Damar Hamlin woke up. And if you know the story, he couldn't talk yet because he still had tubes down his throat, but he could write. And they gave him a whiteboard, and the first thing that he wrote down was, "Who won the game?" And the doctor that was talking to him, I think in a moment of profound wisdom, looked at him and said, "You won. We didn't finish the other game. You won." I know that Doug shared a belief, Liz shares a belief that this life is only chapter 1. I share that same belief. And based on the story I've heard about the man that he is, I had no doubt that the day that he took his last breath a few days ago, that Jesus Christ himself looked that man in the eye and said, "Well done. You win." And if you share that belief on any level, and on a day like today, you don't have to say goodbye to your dad, your husband, your grandpa, your friend. You can simply say, and mean it, "We'll see you later." You know, I know this last few years have been a struggle because of memory issues and health issues, and I think when you're loving on someone that's going through that, On this side of heaven, I'm not sure that there's anything much harder than that. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't grow up in a church, but the local youth group every other Wednesday night would go to a local nursing home, and we all had adopted grandparents. And my adopted grandma was a lady named Charlotte, and I saw her every other Wednesday night for 2 years, and I loved her. And she shared in some of the memory issues, and I loved her because you never knew what was going to happen. Her stories were incredible. I mean, she had been the Queen of England. She had dated Elvis. She had been the First Lady at one point. And every Wednesday night when I was there, an old TV show called MASH was on, 6:30 on Wednesdays. And she would always point to the same character, McLean Stevenson, and say that was her nephew. I mean, you just never knew what story was going to come out about. Well, I knew her for almost 2 years. And there towards the end, as her health was failing, I walked into her room one Wednesday night, and I kid you not, McLean Stevenson was sitting in her room because he really was her nephew. And I was like, well, what was Elvis like? That came to see him. Every time he held his hand, every time he talked, every time he stood, I absolutely believe that there are times that the clouds part. And the beautiful thing is that he is in a place now where there is no COVID. There are no memory issues. There's no heart disease. There's none of the stuff that we have to have here today. And I hope that gives you guys some comfort. I want to close with a piece that is one of the most powerful things that I've ever run across. And it asks all of us questions because we are going to go get back in our cars here in a little bit. And we all have a circle of people that are watching how we do life and how we face good times and hard times. And this is a spoken word by a group called Fearless Soul, and here's what it says. If I die today, would I be proud of the life that I lived? If I die tomorrow, was I happy? Would I be proud of the person that I've become? Was there love in my life? Did I give enough love? Did I show those I loved the real me? Did I live the life that I wanted to live? Could I have done things better or differently? Will I be missed? What will I leave behind? Will anyone on earth be better because I was there? Because the truth is, none of us know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. None of us know that we have a guarantee that that's going to happen. So, if you don't like who you've been up to this moment, make a change and make it now. If you have a broken relationship with someone that you care about, mend it now. If you can give more love, give it now. If you can play more and work less, decide to commit to do that today. If you can do anything to improve the quality of your life, make that commitment now. Write down everything that you can change in your life, everything that cannot wait for tomorrow, every phone call that you need to make, every hug that you need to give, every apology that you need to give, everything that you need to say. Decide to stop caring so much about what everybody else thinks of you and start living the life that you really want to live now. Start feeling the way that you deserve to feel. Start loving the way that you want to love. Think about how much better all of your relationships would be if you could live as the very best version of yourself right now, when you're present, living in the moment. So get excited about your life. Love your life while you're living it. Your new life starts now. And I have a feeling that if Doug could somehow miraculously stand where I'm standing right now, he would tell us all the exact same thing. Get a life and live it. It has been such an honor for Sam and I to be part of your holy collision today, and so thank you for allowing us to do that. It just sounds like you got to bump up us against a man that did it right for almost 9 decades. So thank you for allowing us to be here. I'd like to close with a word of prayer. I'm going to turn it back over to Sam. God, thank you for this holy collision of friends, family. Thank you for the strong words and the caring words that were spoken by Chris and Katie and Steve. And I pray now as we open the doors and share in some food and beverage that more stories will be told and the thread of healing that has started today will continue, because there's going to be a time down the road, a year from now, 3 years from now, when something's going to happen that will remind someone in here about Doug and his life. And I just pray that moment that you can just let that person, let that moment be whatever it's supposed to be. So thank you for the importance of relationships. The hard part is, God, that the more we care, the more it hurts. And so I pray for all the comfort that you can possibly give to the family today. In your name we pray these things. Amen.
Thank you, Brian. This does conclude Doug's service here today. Again, I'd like to remind you, we are having food and beverages right next door here, so we'd like to invite you all to come and join us and continue to share the news. Again, thank you for making the journey every day. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Got everything up really well.
Thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Thank you. You're in Kettering, right? Yeah. That's so cool. Do you guys see each other every other day? Oh, yeah. Must be nice. Oh, yeah. Wow. No, of course not. You were having fun. Oh, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Mark's over at our house right now. Well, you should go visit. Ann is coming. Yeah, you know where St. Leonard's is?
Yeah, that would be
Real close to it. We're like on, like if we go to school, they would love it. So, let me write it down. Do you know how to Google it? Do you know how to? Molly. They're gonna go stop in and see your dad. Yeah, you guys should go there. I need an address. So, do you have a text it to you? Yes. Oh, yeah, good idea. Because they know where St. Leonard's is, which is right there. Oh, and then, so we're like 3 streets down Centerville Station towards Wilmington. And we're the 3rd house on the right. Yeah, it's quick. Oh, that's so funny. What's your zip code? 5429.
What a great.
Something? Yeah. That was very nice. Beautiful. What? You're down there. Can you like this is bad about your what?
I guess I'll have a glass.
What about the other? Maybe he was too. Yeah. She lets go. Yeah. Exactly.
So it meant to later, yes.
Thank you. Good. Is your family good?
Familiar, how are you doing? Well, hey, your birthday. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, good to see you too. Oh, yeah. The tailgate. Bonding. Brother and I, grandpa. Our whole family. So those had a lot of. How are you doing?
Jerry Lewis.
Sharon's friend.
Oh, yes.
And you were like,
I was the little guy back
you
then.
were not then. You were like,
Oh my God. I was sophomore in high school. 5'4", 118.
you look just
I got crushed in football. I finally said screw this.
what position did you do?
Pardon me?
What position were you?
Like quarterback.
You were the quarterback. That's what I was asking you when you couldn't
But I only played it my freshman year. And I quit football.
Then you did basketball with your height, right?
I didn't get tall until after my senior year in Vegas.
That was our son. He got 6'4" after. Good job.
Had to grow.
It's been very good. Not last year.
I think it's maybe I'm here. Maybe I'm wrong. You go tell her. I don't want to tell her.
You go right
I might
ahead.
be wrong, Christy.
I don't know anybody.
I don't know. I'm gonna hide if I'm wrong. I think that's.
You think it's who?
Sue Cole,
Okay.
Sharon's sister.
Yeah. So how you been?
Good, how about you?
I'm all right.
This is busy time for you, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. What you doing?
Everything. Picking, harvesting,
Yeah.
taking care of things.
I keep thinking to get out to your pumpkin event.
Try it out.
Maybe
Maybe this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have grandchildren probably.
I do.
Yeah. How many do you have?
I have 5. Yep. How about you guys?
We have 6.
Okay. Now
Landon's big. Landon's so
Okay. How old?
15.
Can you even believe that?
No.
I mean, seriously.
Seems like yesterday.
That was pretty. Yeah, we said hello. Yeah, we just briefly. I wanted to listen to what Mrs. Cole was saying. I didn't mean to shake your hand.
Oh, no.
I want to hear what she had to say. Because all that.
Everything's good.
Mr. and Mrs. Cole went to high school with my parents.
Really?
So we were kind of making it.
Are your parents still?
My dad died 2 months ago.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Sorry.
My mom is. Yeah.
It's Christy's parents are horrible.
Are they?
Oh, is that right?
Her
Oh, yeah.
mother is really.
Mother is.
Yeah, she's pretty bad shape. They've been watching her like physically. She's got a lot of problems.
I remember her dad. He hung curtains in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still going pretty good.
Is that right?
He's not real good, but he's still moving.
Okay.
I mean, he gets around a little bit.
Wow, it's gonna happen to all of us one day.
Real sooner than you think.
I know.
We live off of Social Road, off of Applebrook, Willowbrook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I know where you are. Yeah.
I don't know why I don't run into you guys more often.
Yeah. Well, do you go to the church still?
No, Epiphany.
Yeah. No.
No,
Which
Living
one?
Water, we do.
You go to Living
We
Water?
see
Yeah.
you there.
Yeah. We don't get out very often there
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. We try to.
Do you?
We try to.
We probably should try a little harder.
It's just.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Good to see you.
Probably just when I'm trying to sell. That's right. Yeah, it's not working. Your sister. I do. Yeah. On the obituary? Actually, when I I think you said I didn't know about the mammals. I think it is. And so then when I got here, yes, it's not. Yeah. So anyway, she said no. So then when I got here, I was like, Oh, really? Yes, like that. Yeah. We don't want to have one. I mean, so how late do you see once a week we have a standing Tuesday morning. And that's usually like, I mean, I said, I mean, I just
Then I figured out that he joined.
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, Carl. You are. I think he wanted to. I think he wanted to see if there's maybe Chris can find out, is there a non-alcoholic beer in there maybe, or a non-alcoholic? Okay, thanks, Molly. Do you remember Kip Stevens?
Yeah. Good to see you.
He said you'd get better. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I get older.
Yeah, no, he said you'd get better looking at the
Yeah, we get the same hairline.
Yes, that's right. I know. He needs a little bit of a haircut. I was like, yeah.
I said, I didn't have time to get a haircut, so I did my kind of and then I said, Pat, you understand? I said, Pat, come up and trim.
I need to get one for home because that's all they do.
Oh, we do a number one and a half.
One and a half. That's what he does. Yes. So,
It's easy.
anyway, so
Yeah, Mark, good seeing you again. We'll see you under a better.
Yeah. Well,
Like soda, coffee, water.
You want a soft drink or something? Why don't we go sit down in there and then okay. Okay. All right. How are you?
Free salter.
Married to Sharon?
Remember? We've been on a bunch of vacations together.
buddy?
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, Woody.
Thank you for
How are
coming.
you?
Just got in.
Did you? I thought you were going to be
How do
gone.
you, Sudi? We got stuck in traffic.
Did you? Where were you
Hi,
coming in from?
How are you?
Yes.
Hi, Bruce.
Doing all right? Cool Top Gun flight simulator you got here.
How's everything? How's your visit been? You're in much better shape. Aren't you?
I am, yeah.
I know James was supposed to go today. I
There for a year, but
know.
I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah, I got
You ever stay with service?
I
My granddaughters
was
are here.
so happy to hear that. I honestly was. I was just like, oh my God, because she's like,
Hey, I was
Hi, how you
yeah,
doing? Good.
like
good.
saying,
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Steve Rockland.
I hear you.
Steve Rockland, playing golf in Rotunda with the alligators. Remember that? We go down there for the trips. Down in Boca Grande and Rotunda. Yeah. Remember us playing golf 3 or 4 times down there. Damn. I'm actually back into the restaurant business. I got out, and then I was building a building for a company that went out of business. And I ended up getting another company to take it over, but I had to keep money in it. And now I'm actually chief of development and construction for that company. It's a company out of New York called Clean Plate Restaurant Group. We have 17 restaurants in 7 states. So I'm fully invested in it. Well, what they are, they're burger and tequila places. They are sushi places and pizza pie houses. There are 3 concepts that we run: Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Texas, Arkansas. We have one up in Delaware, Ohio, called Burger Inn. Oh yeah, way too much for a guy my age. So I'm on a plane 2 or 3 times a month.
I know. I just told Bruce I'm so glad to see you.
No, we don't have one. We have private planes that we take a lot, but not for most of the travel I do because I'm in big cities. So it's tough. I'm in Austin, Texas.
I'm gonna.
And places like that.
Hey, do you remember me?
Yes, I do.
How are you, Steve? It's so good to see you.
I just came up. Yeah, we were just talking about him chasing the alligator.
Oh, you're neither of you. Oh,
We were
oh my
talking.
God.
We were talking about him chasing the alligators playing golf in Rotunda.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, well, kind of both ways.
I just remember having played this Yeah. Yeah, how's everything? Are you building?
I am actually I still have my own company. Now I actually am chief of development and construction for a restaurant group. So I have 3 restaurants under construction in 3 states.
What are they? What's the?
So we have 3 concepts: burger and tequila bars. So we do gourmet burgers and tequila.
Oh, I love it.
And it's kind of Latinish. We have pizza pie houses,
Okay.
New York style Neapolitan pizza.
Mark, are you comfortable?
And then
You
we
wanna
have
go sit down?
sushi places.
Oh,
That was it.
oh, my total
Stand here
jam.
like-
And so I have 3 of them within 800 yards of where we live in downtown Raleigh. I travel so much.
So you, like, you just, because you're an amazing chef, cook, or whatever.
He is.
And, but you just came up with, like, cool concepts and
So,
kind of
no,
built the
what
menu
happened was
yourself?
I was building a restaurant and I was going to retire. And the company went bankrupt on me. And they owed me like $350,000 or $80,000. So I had another company to buy it, change the concept. And they said, we'll do it. But you got to leave your money and stay with us for 5 years. So we did that. That was in 1999 or 2019. And then they said, all right, we're going to make you chief of construction and development. So I've got a restaurant in Florida, one in Raleigh, Cary, North Carolina, and one in Georgia.
Oh, how fun, but I mean, how.
So from the time we get, they're all usually interior finishes. It takes me between 120 and 150 days to have them up and running from concept to.
That's not bad. That's fast. So like, okay, what's the burger tequila place? Like, are there like?
So the burger tequila place is in the old 1937 Raleigh Cinema. We took an old movie theater and rebuilt it. The floor is still smoke.
So great.
Is it?
It's called Lola's, yeah.
And so it's kind
wonderful.
of a Latin
It's so
influence.
cool.
There's like 17 gourmet burgers.
It is unbelievable.
Oh, I gotta come.
Oh, you need to.
I
And
do.
we
And
have
that one's in Roswell?
right downtown Raleigh.
Oh, tell me how many servers people working there. It's like,
Yeah, so we do about $3 million a year now.
it's huge.
Holy
Like,
cow.
people everywhere.
But it's got this gigantic 21-foot TV,
Oh,
projector
biggest
TV,
in Raleigh.
and then there's 10 84-inch TVs in there.
oh
So it's all
my God.
sports oriented,
Is
all
it?
music oriented,
Oh.
and it's really kind of fun food. It's got really good wings. It's got great burgers.
That's
Oh
what
my
you women in
God, I wanna
Roswell
come.
said.
We gotta go down that part, yeah.
Yeah, you guys would love it. It'd be
That
fun. I'm trying to
is
get
so cool.
Steve and Janice to come down and go to the lake.
Yes.
You guys can ride
We
down.
came to our lake house for 4 hours.
Do they need more than an invitation to
No,
say?
I told
yeah,
Janice
yeah.
that yesterday.
Good, good.
Yeah, but
Oh.
Lola's is
And
really
did
kind
you
of
live
fun.
there? I
I did.
Yeah. And,
We actually been going together for 9 years.
okay.
And we've been married, we got married in the Keys last year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Does she help you in the business or?
She's with a realtor.
Okay. Okay.
She's
She's
with Gary
a
Norman.
A+ real estate.
Is she?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she does a lot.
And that's,
There's
I mean,
her and 3 other girls in downtown Roswell.
is that
that
like
have
just
the
the
whole
hottest market?
Yeah, it is a hot market.
Is it?
If she's connected enough to have enough leads. She does really well.
I bet. Oh, fun.
She got $3 million sales one every month the last month.
Yeah, this girl's focused on the big stuff.
So fun.
I'm doing the low stuff.
Are you doing? Are you?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
do a few.
good?
I do the $300,000 or $400,000.
So what?
And she does the
That's
300.
perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
you've already
really-
had a big career and all
Yeah.
that and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, this
You and I
gives
are
you.
older.
That's not.
She's still young too.
Is
She's
she?
60.
Oh,
71.
You beat me. Sharon's only 10 years younger than me. You got 11.
10 and a half.
good for you.
So,
You got a young chick. Yeah.
She's a pretty girl, too.
and it's really
Is
nice
she- I
because
bet, I
her
bet.
kids and mine are the exact same
Are-
age. Her daughter, my oldest grandson, and her granddaughter
Okay.
are 3 weeks apart, and the 2 second boys are 6 days apart. And they said, let's throw them a bone, and they got pregnant the same night. She got induced from the 2 babies who've been the same day.
Oh my gosh, that's so. Oh, that makes everything kind of super cohesive. Yeah.
And then that's got one coming in September. We'll have a 5th.
You guys have 2 or more now?
We have a granddaughter or grandchildren. He has 2, exactly. And okay, so Christina, my oldest, which I'm not sure, she didn't come to Boca Raton. Yeah, she was, I think, in college. Yeah. So she is pregnant now. She's going to be 42 when she has this baby in November. And then she has a 2-year-old girl. They just left today. They were here for.
What's the youngest one?
Yes, we're all girls. I know. And my son, or Alex, even said, I have to admit, I'm disappointed. Christina's having another girl.
What's the youngest one?
Caroline. Yes, Caroline. And she's the one. She came here, and she would, and your dad, or your grandpa, she's 29, but she would call him Papa Doc, and he would give her $1. Whenever it was so cute, he'd be like, "Come here, Caroline. Here's $1."
Those trips to Boca Graham were
Yeah,
so
were those some of the best trips we ever. Did you? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. She lives in Columbus. No, she's been dating this guy. Yeah, boyfriend for like almost 6 years.
Wow.
I think they're exactly.
That's long enough, isn't it?
That's my thing. Of course, mom is not. You know, I don't know. I guess I don't call the shots.
Get married and start kids and grandkids, man. Let's go.
No,
We need a boy.
oh, they're exactly. That's right.
That'll happen.
I
Need a girl on our side.
I don't know if that'll happen. I do have one.
You have one.
Elaine's got one.
Steady.
But yeah, and she's cute. But she's got a boy, so we've really got 4 boys now.
Oh, I mean.
That's
it's
bad
so-
odds.
Yes, I do. What do you want? Do they have a white wine or?
Yeah, they have Chardonnay and
Do they have drink or beer? Beer. Okay. Rose. Rose. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Do you want to go in and sit down, Mark? Okay. Okay. Well, fine.
I'm gonna wait till I get to
You just, I know. So, anyway, so Caroline, she's, working hard, and she's got a real good sales job, and, but they ski. She sells for a company that does staffing services, but she sells to the defense industry.
Probably good.
Yeah. A lot of defense contractors around Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus. And so she's one of those kids that, like, Park always calls her a little capitalist. She's real, she's like, Mom, they're good. I want a trip. I want this. She's just like puts a little goal out there. But she's having fun. They ski. They do all this stuff, and they're like, we're not ready to have kids yet. Yeah, she's still young. I mean, her friends are just starting to get married now. But anyway, so
I'm trying to think,
That's
didn't we
about
have sushi tuna and Vail one time?
Probably,
I
yes.
remember cooking it on the outdoor
Yes.
hibachi grill.
Yes.
And you were like, "You're gonna overcook it." I said, "No, I'm not.
Did I really? Am I bossy? Oh my goodness.
You're gonna overcook that." I said, "No, I'm not. I know what I'm doing."
No.
And we had that thing roar,
I
and it was
just
out there. snowing.
remember you were like this amazing chef. Yeah. Like Gina would say, oh, there's a rock coming.
I knew that.
I said, is there a no, my family have a weird.
Would you like me to go get you a coffee?
No, you're holding this thing.
You can hold my one. I'll give you.
Okay, two cups of ice, with cups of.
Yeah, they got.
If they don't get that's water. Great. Or I have water. Oh, that was. Wasn't that good?
Your husband did a marvelous
Steve, he
job.
did a great.
And your son,
Oh,
as always, steals the show.
I know, but he was fantastic. Oh,
Wait a second.
I thought
Did you
he
hear
was
us
great.
going to the boys' club? Cheryl, we got
You think? Yeah, like, oh, they don't drink. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Their dad was so good. I love when the grandkids talk. Oh, and Katie. But I love hearing the whole story. Okay. Oh, you're so.
Yeah, no.
I know. We have to look at all. We have to look at all their styles. Sorry. Oh my God, they're so cute.
Been back to Florida. Do you go back to Florida much? You back to Boca Grande? Sanibel? With Steve and them? Did you have a place down there? No? We were down there about 4 months ago, but it still has not recovered at all. It's horrible. Mark, just talk apart. He, I think, told me that about, was it a couple of years ago? Yeah, I remember him telling me. I would have been retired 3 years ago if the restaurant I was building hadn't gone bankrupt and I had to stay with it. Now I got myself stuck for another year and a half. I'm going to retire a year from this February, so I'm 74. I'll call it quits. Be enough. You know, and we've got a place on the East Coast down on the Fort Pierce Stewart side is what I've been looking at to get. So we've got a house up on Lanier that we'll probably end up selling because it's so damn much work for me to take care of. And I got people to go and clean and do all the yard and stuff. But just to get it open and with all the grandkids and stuff, it's almost crazy how hard it is to keep everything together and, fit everybody in. And, so we're probably going to put that on the market in the next year. So we're talking Steve and Janice, we'd love to have you and Sue come down and, spend a long weekend or something and see Georgia. A long time ago, started Boca Grande. I think about it, sitting up here, hadn't been here in a while when I was talking today. I remember meeting Doug 43 years ago. Yeah, 1980. 80, 81. It was like summertime. I was like, wow, how fast that time went by. Yeah. Hey, Matt, have you met Park? We were talking about golfing in Rotunda with the alligators.
I was gonna say you had that story about when you guys golfed and one of you guys hit a shot out on like a peninsula and it cornered him in.
That was, we were like, I think you got to go the other way.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about those beach trips.
I'm Steve Rockland.
Hey, that's Steve.
You know who I am. Played golf with you in Xenia a bunch of times.
You did?
Yes, we did.
It would have been a long time ago.
Yeah, back in the early 83, 84, 85, 86.
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
We were talking about that yesterday, Steve and I.
Well, you know, so many things exit, right?
Yeah, rounds of golf.
Yeah.
So little things exit you.
Yeah.
But don't take that personally.
I'm not. I have a pretty good memory, and it's just.
Yeah. Steve and I'll be telling stories, right? I'll bring something up, he'll say, I don't remember that at all. And he'll tell me, I'm sorry, I don't remember that. Where were you in Xenia?
Xenia went right out. I mean, we drove through the backwoods to the country, and we went all the way over to Xenia Country Club or some golf course that was over there.
So I lived out of state then, so I must have been.
And then then you were up here for a trip or for something, and then we went to Springfield and played like 2 year later.
Okay.
So Steve remembers it.
Okay.
He remembers on the first tee you went.
Well, I got the same thing.
Same slice. He goes, yeah, that first tee, that first same slice.
Same game. How the Buckeyes can do this year? Kind of a weird schedule this year. Right? Yeah. I'm traveling for the one big game this year. I won't be able to go to Penn State. I'm going to sell them.
Trying to hang on a little.
Where are you from? Like Atlanta?
Yeah, in Roswell, north of Atlanta, 30 miles.
Big Braves fan?
We are really big. Nat actually works he's a corporate lawyer for an oil company, and they have a big office in Houston.
Yeah.
So he got to go out and see the winning game 2 years ago when they beat Houston out in Houston. He was there for Game 6. Yeah, we go to a bunch. He's got corporate tickets and stuff, but we go to a bunch of games. I got a bunch of friends.
Dolphins fan?
We are. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this, but it's so hard to get into the city, to go to the games. It's so difficult to park.
I'll tell you what, you know, best place to watch an NFL game
At home.
the couch, 50-yard line.
Well, the one restaurant we have called Lola's Burger Tequila Bar in Roswell, we've got a $50,000 TV. We got a 21-foot projector. So it's on there. We have NFL Sunday ticket. So we'll have all of the games on all the time there. And I only live about 800 yards from it. So Roswell downtown's got about 30 restaurants. We live right in it, and you can use golf carts.
Okay.
So we golf cart to everything for parking and getting around and stuff. So I got 3 restaurants on the street.
Okay.
But yeah, we're big Falcon fans.
Okay.
They're big Georgia fans.
So you got restaurants?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Restaurant group?
Yeah, it's called Clean Plate. We're out of New York and Chicago. We're kind of scattered around. So, but yeah, 3 concepts: pizza pie houses, sushi, and burger joints.
Okay.
So,
You see, have some in other cities as well?
we actually have a restaurant up here in Delaware, Ohio. Burger Inn downtown. But yeah, we have 17 restaurants in 7 states. I'm too old to be traveling as much as I travel.
I know we met before at tailgate. Bruce, I'm married to Sharon. Steve.
Yeah. How you doing?
And you're Tim. Nice to meet you. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for coming.
But yeah, sports is everything. I mean, we watch Ohio State, we watch Georgia, we watch Miami, we're watching Braves, baseball, we got golf going.
Right.
Things that drives my wife a little crazy.
The Bengals have a big year.
They're gonna have a really big year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see on Instagram or anything? You might have seen on Sports Illustrated too. They went. A couple of the bankers went down to the Reds game pregame.
They showed it.
They let Burrow get up there and take some batting practice, hitting dingers. Right?
They showed it on.
Hitting dingers.
They showed it actually on Fox Sports. Fox Sports 1. They had a thing on it.
He's just a total athlete.
I'm reading a book right now. My wife bought me. It's called.
I think Ohio State wished they kept him.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Yeah.
it's called From Bulldog to Bengal, and it's Joe Burrow's story told by his youth coaches and stuff. Great book. Great.
What's it called?
I think it's called From Bulldog to Bengal.
Is that where Athens Bulldogs or high school?
Yeah. Great book. Great on history. Great
Yeah.
I read a lot of sports books. So.
Really cool. Really cool.
Ohio State just beat him out. Was it the kid that got killed?
Yeah.
Dwayne Haskins? Yeah.
And what's his name? Tate Martell.
Tate Martell.
Martell was there too. The three of them were there together.
They should have made Joe the starter.
Yeah, you never know. This NIL stuff, like you said.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Well, it's a great one. I'll let that one go.
Yeah, no kidding.
And people off.
Well, this kid that's in Texas too, Quinn Ewers. I mean, let me tell you something. Little Manning isn't going to be starting down there next year.
They said he got
Yours is much better.
They said Manning had a terrible spring.
He got the thing with his name.
Yeah, they said he had a terrible spring.
Yeah.
So.
Good seeing you, Park. Good kids.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Park.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, we just sports is kind of 24/7.
Yeah.
So you were on that ski trip?
Fucking all you.
That must have been hilarious. Oh my God.
I said, what do you think? He said, there was a bunch of high school clowns.
Oh, it sounds like it. Yeah.
I remember the story when Steve and Sue told me. Doug came home with a $70,000. Those big, capsulated Winnebago.
Big old GMC.
Like a roll, that was kind of rounded off, not like
Right,
a Winnebago,
right.
but square.
Like 27 feet long.
Yeah, the freaking Oscar by a hot dog box.
Unbelievable. Well, Steve tells that story.
That's where he's talking about. You're out sketching me. I was in the freaking passenger. He was in the captain's chair. I was in the co-pilot. And we had curtain. And in the middle of the night, we're driving. Curtain rips open.
Well, then at the end, you had to slow down, right? Something got broke down or something?
I just woke up thinking, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
Pumped up
It's
there.
not bad.
There's like 14 or 15 people.
Unbelievable. Probably would have got a ticket today over too many people in there. What was Steve? Like I said, being around Steve all these years, he goes back to that story almost regularly and talks about comments and things. And the one that I always remember, he said that one is it Mark? Who was Mark? Mark that was on the trip. Is there Mark?
That's when Sue dated.
Craker?
Craker, he went on that trip.
He wasn't on the trip? Oh, okay.
But Craker,
yeah, with Craker, he came up or something when everybody was standing there, and he came up and said, "Pardon me while I cook," and he took off and wrecked. Fell, skis everywhere. Was a good athlete, though, huh?
Top athlete.
Really? Where was he from? Unbelievable. And you guys met him at college, David? He's passed away, correct?
Yeah, he passed away about.
Damn. You guys have had a couple of them pass away recently.
Yeah, now Mark
really?
decades. Now, I'm not saying that's what it's from, but I'm just saying.
Right. He drank.
He was close.
Okay.
supposed to leave this year early. Came back, and,
And then you just had one die a year ago? No, I know about Dave. I'm thinking of a guy that kind of had a rough life. Tim Down. Yeah, Tim Down. That was recent. That was after Dave, right?
that was like in this past 9 months.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's
Because Steve heard from the lady who was putting him on.
right.
She called Steve first. Steve was the first one. Now Steve had to call his brother and tell him, right? And call Mike and give breaking news.
Tim was using it too, right?
He was
Drinking.
He just never slowed down.
Damn.
We do it once a year in Jackson.
Yeah.
It takes 5 days to recover.
Where'd you go in Jacksonville?
One of our high school buddies got a place about a block up
Jack's Beach or Jack's Beach?
right there next to it.
So I go to Jack's Beach. I'm in Jacksonville twice a
Oh,
month.
that's too funny.
I have 3 restaurants there, 2 down in the Daytona area. I stay out on Jack's Beach all the time.
What are your restaurants in Jacksonville?
We have a place called Carmine's Pie House.
Yeah, you guys need to go there, man.
There's dive bars there. They're in the old Riverside section downtown.
Woo!
But Carmine's is actually
Carmine's?
Carmine's Pie House. And it is a dive, but it is a true New York pizza. On Yelp, it's ranked the 80th best pizza place in the United States out of 19,000. There's a Lola's there.
Lola's?
Yep.
That's a good spot.
It's burgers, Tex-Mex, margaritas. The other one's down south, kind of between Jackson and St. Augustine, so it's kind of out of the way. But those are the two you can go to in the Jackson. So like 20-minute ride.
We always go to, we always go to the Lemon, we always go to dinner somewhere, and then we always go to the Lemon Bar and have a drink, which is ridiculous. So we're like 30 years older than everybody else in the whole place.
So let me tell you 2 of the best restaurants to go to.
Okay.
You want to go to Palm Valley Fish Camp.
Palm Valley,
Palm Valley Fish Camp. It's
POM
right-
Valley,
Palm, P-A-L.
PAL, not Palm Valley.
Palm Valley Fish Camp, which is right by PPC.
Okay.
And it is absolutely phenomenal. If you want to go for a really good dive, it's called Marker 38.
That's the one. That's on St. John's River.
So I'd say,
That is a good
and that
place.
is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. It's a 5-star.
Palm Valley is my favorite because they have real high-end wine by the glass. You can sit inside and out. And it's right on the whatever that's one of the races too.
Markers on St. John's. Yeah, it is
But
awesome.
Palm Valley they have a dish there. It is beautiful trout, and they do a deviled egg sauce. And I am telling you, they smash potatoes,
Oh,
trout,
that
and
sounds
sauce.
damn good.
I mean, it is phenomenal. But I'm there.
We have fun. In fact, we're talking about Bengals, Jacksonville Monday night
It's a
game.
great game. Well, if you
That'd be a good
do,
game.
Carmine's and Lola's is 10 minutes from the stadium. 8
I'm great at the game with that.
What's that?
That'd be a great game. I mean,
Yeah.
is that a replay of the AFC Championship game? Wasn't Jacksonville on the
That's
AFC?
playoff game, not the champion.
Oh, Kansas City was in. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So that would be a fun
close.
trip.
Yeah, I think
That's a great time to
we
be
got
in
to talk
September.
about it, figure it out.
October.
But, you know, Al got tickets, we go down and hang out with the wives and all, right? 'Cause our trip and our summer trip with all guys, now his wife gets up. She's a saint, putting up with 6.
Play golf when you're down there?
man.
What's that?
You guys play golf when you're down there?
We don't. We just, all we do is we drink, go to the beach, hang out.
But there's a great Jacksonville Beach Country Club. It's public. It's like 10 minutes from there. It's on the intercoastal. $60 is
We
phenomenal.
normally take a pontoon boat up here to Coast Guard
Yeah.
on Friday night. But one of our guys had a heart event, and he's okay, but he had to wear a big old chest full of centers on this. It looks like a sports bra.
Wow.
And he contacted me. I can't get this wet. Yeah, we're okay with canceling. Okay. Of course we're okay with canceling.
Yeah, man. We
Well,
want you to get dead.
Palm Valley, you can dock right there and get off the boat if you're going out for cocktails or drinks.
So, actually, the very first year we went down there, he rounded up a bunch of golf clubs from all his friends and neighbors, all lined up. We're like, well, we really don't want to play golf. We just want to freaking party our asses off. So golf, yeah, I'm not saying we'll never do that, but golf is just, it's a part of the agenda. We just get lazy and stupid.
My wife's friends had a house about 20 minutes south of there at Belago Beach. So it's when you go down past Ponte Beach, it's where it dead ends in St. Augustine. They got a house on the other coast. Brand new, beautiful. But we go there to stay and party and boat. And love it there. I mean, it's a great
We
area.
went to the Ponte Vedra Club one night for happy hour. We had a good time there. And then a couple years ago, we got somebody from the clubhouse to take us in one of the big long golf carts, and they took us all out to 17 for some group photos.
To see it,
and stuff.
yeah.
That was awesome.
That's a nice one.
That was really fun. Anyway, good catch up, you guys.
Good seeing you again,
Really
Tim.
good to see you. Next time we play golf, I'm going to remember it. I am going to remember.
I just remember being at the first tee. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. You guys were sneaking off from work.
Tim, take care. Good seeing you again, buddy. I'll see you probably. We'll probably be up for one of the games.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you.
I'm going to go to like 3 this year.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got to sell Penn State. I'll take the first home game of traveling on vacation in Washington.
Yeah.
So I've picked a handful of games. I have season tickets to.
Right.
I go to 3.
Well,
my wife can take it or leave it, right? So
Well, you had your son there with you when September when I was at the Wisconsin game. Yeah, we'll be up because see Liz. You know, we've been coming up about every 2 months. Now, since Doug got really bad, so we'll be up and I know we'll be back to stay with Steve and Janice. Have fun, go over to Yeah, we'll see. Hey, thanks for coming in.
You were trying to, you said that you thought it was from some time.
Yeah,
College or something.
crazy
He's running around naked or something.
That's what we think.
Yeah.
We're not 100% sure. I don't know. Yeah, that's something. Fraternity.
I don't know what the actual hazing was.
Oh, dude, straight up and he did that. One thing because the Apollo, before they went to the showers, they were making questions, and was actually going to guys, and you had to go like this. And brushed up again, brushed up again. On purpose. They'd sit there lazy.
I still can't believe they would just.
The players, like you wouldn't be like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that's the easiest.
Yeah.
The worst is honestly. I didn't hear it. I read it, dude. That's the story.
That's what
Fitzgerald got fired. I know he got fired.
Yeah, but that's this is why.
Well, they did it, and that's what they. Yeah. Well, Chris has a reason.
Yeah.
No. That's right. It had to happen in Northwestern or Vanderbilt. Someone that doesn't have the. No, the worst thing is, and you know, 3 people, whatever. The guy in there, close the door, turn off all the lights, and then 4 or 5 receivers come in. Oh my goodness. What? Yes!
Coach me like you gotta
Yes.
get it. Do it.
It's
You
sort
gotta
of
make him a part of the team. Yeah.
Jerry must have come over and showed him.
Yeah, man. So when I first Jerry came over, Yeah. Dude, I don't know, but it's been going on. And finally,
Weird.
several guys came up and the first one said something about the coach is an icon. This has never happened. The more came. I think it was the head of the college said they were investigating. Came back, and I'm like, all this shit was happening was true. And then they sort of gave a deep
Provost.
I don't know, but they got an independent attorney to come in. But anyway, after they said yes, it really happened. Then they said, well, what happens to the sheriff? They said, oh, we're going to put him on a 2-week suspension and cut. And then they got down even further. And some of the guys came back and said, hey, Coach Pitt's going. He's orchestrating. No. Because this guy,
I've been watching it, but I wasn't paying
he
attention.
is the clean cut.
Military character.
You asked like college football analysts, give me the top 5 like most. Those coaches that run their program the right way. He would have been on there. He would have been on there.
He has that
All
kind of haircut that
American.
looks like shit.
All American. Everybody loves him. That's a head coaching job.
And he kind of was a good coach for a program that was really bad. Like they were kind of competitive and they shouldn't be. So they're like even loved it for
But it's so hard to get into.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Winning record and like having to go. They're basically.
They're lucky they're on the west side of the lake.
I heard the hazing.
I don't understand
I
that.
thought
Why
they
that?
beat him up.
Dude, I don't know. Dude, you know how those things happen. 15 years ago, somebody did this, and then it got worse and gets worse and gets worse.
Yeah, but no one was like, guys, it's less of that.
I can't imagine. It's happened. He just got fired a week ago.
This is the last like month.
And so,
He just got fired a week ago.
Candace said, thanks God.
And they decided, for some reason, they decided to keep all the assistants. They've said that already, which is weird to me.
I don't know
That's
if
the
that's
story. Yeah, now that if more of this comes out, it's like, yeah. Well, if you're the new coach and you come in, it's like, how do I trust anyone?
Wait a second. How do the athletes say that?
Huh?
How do the athletes want to do this? They were
Well,
involved in
they
it.
gotta go, don't they? Yeah, they gotta go.
They probably love the program.
Did you see?
But you know,
They're like,
they
they want one of the
right?
assistants to take over.
It's gonna go and clean it up? But O's right.
I don't think so.
No, is O's right gonna go and clean it up?
Westbrook just said that they said all the assistants could stay on.
It's worse than
Yeah,
that.
that makes no
This is
sense.
still getting millions. 13 million. What did he say when he got fired?
They gonna give me 13 million. I ain't gonna let them work.
You know, he took the job in Miami.
Is there a worse culture fit than Orgeron in Northwest?
No.
No, he took the,
Absolutely.
he took the Ravens job. in Miami because he wanted to coach.
Wait a minute, he got a job?
They should do it too. It's like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
need some
What
sort
a
of.
quick way to like try and.
Well, he's a good coach, but he ain't a head coach.
Orgeron? Who, Orgeron?
Yeah.
What a natty.
Well, yeah, not every player in the world. I mean, you could have won it with that group.
Justin Jefferson.
How do you think Tennessee's going to feel? 28 less scholarships and $8 million.
I heard about it.
Oh, I didn't hear they got the scholarships.
28 scholarships over 2 years.
That's gonna hurt.
Oh, that hurts. But what they can do is just
But they just got their nose in front
They
of
said
the
that's not
last
possible. You know what they said?
No.
Yeah, so you can't have scholarships.
It's been 20 good
You
years.
walk
I
on
want
it.
to give it
If
up.
you're a walk-on, you can't get paid into that.
well,
Something like that. is gonna talk. They'll get around it somehow.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, I was reading it too. Every school has one super fan.
You got to do it
John Williams, $38 billion he sold his company, medical company for.
isn't
$38 billion. He gave $100 million. They did go bankrupt, but it was defunded, so it didn't do as much. But the big company went for $38 billion. He gave $100 million to the athletic department. He said, here's $100 mil, take that,
We won't make them look
and then
like,
we'll
but
NIL
to watch. If you're a football fan, yeah, we all know. Yeah, we all know. It's just gonna be interesting to see like the dynamic, because like you never, like, at the time,
He did it in
you
Oregon.
thought like, okay, these guys
He packed 10 titles out there.
you would not have thought what they were, especially with the teenage,
Yeah,
like they're
50s up to Palm
Yeah,
Beach.
yeah.
He's got
Literally like
he's got better
the cleanest, like football player right ever.
The guys got down, hands off. And it makes sense. Yeah, they're probably another year or two. I think they got some good personnel. Danny got the new system, they could surprise some people, but they have the hardest schedule in the ACC. They play Texas A&M, so they play Texas A&M, but they have Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina State, Pittsburgh, Louisville.
Does it bother me? They're not. I still got to live with all of it, even after we're taking trophy.
We play them at Louisville.
I'll be the champion of my heart.
We play at Florida State, at North Carolina, at Louisville, at North Carolina State.
The thing is, like, I don't think it speaks.
We play
all the games just happen to be guys somehow lost it.
I think what they're talking about.
Jailbird.
Yeah, they're saying Pittsburgh's probably going to come.
He's out on parole.
They're talking about that. So I'm thinking the Penn State, Pittsburgh, Miami, in that kind of division. I don't know if Ohio State would be on this, but it could be in this East.
A lot of time.
And I think you'll see the Michigan division, you know, and then the Pac-12 people, and then the Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
I want.
They're all the science membership group, and they have the highest
The quiet part out loud.
SAT.
We all know it.
The schools are higher out there. They're all in the top 50 universities in there.
You sound like such an idiot.
Right. Everybody wants Miami because they want the damn recruiting there. So they can come down there when they're down there for a game. Good weather, good games.
Because
My facility, our basketball stuff.
Oh, you're in gospel. You guys lost.
Connecticut,
I would have watched them. I watched them.
we were in Mississippi at the sportsman Harris for the Sweet 16. I had against Houston plus 10. I had Texas on money line. And then I had a parlay with Denver, Florida Atlantic.
You got nice.
Yeah, 100 for 480 on one. It was like, I was like really cheap. Just winning money.
Yeah. Better now. Yeah.
Like 10, I'll take 10.
Tallahassee.
We went to year before. Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
We went up to Greenville. Yeah, we went up there. We saw the USA.
This guy is They miss him so bad. They're like, oh, they're be like 8 to 10 wins a season.
William Poppin back. Then they got the number 2 center.
I was always like, but somehow they had so many bets. Darius Thomas,
Two guys getting in the portal.
yeah,
Best player
Darius
in Florida
Thomas.
State.
It's like they just needed one good one.
Second time fly round.
4 yarders, like 2 catches for 80. I know, it's crazy.
Hey, we're talking about coming up for a big game, not this year, obviously, next year.
Come on up.
Yeah.
Something on the base.
What are those tickets? 'Cause I'm going to every one of Molly's.
Only hard on you guys.
Yeah, but we should have.
63 to 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have 6. So.
Yeah.
Our home schedule.
Hopefully somebody goes post
So next year,
online.
Campus, like right
Oh, yeah,
here.
there's people have been trying. I don't think
Right
this
there,
year,
like,
maybe.
it's one of those.
But supposedly you guys more, all believe when I see it.
I feel like it's one of those ACC has a large stadium, like 50,000, 60,000, so it's like loud, but like you're there, you're really in there. Yeah, because like I know people love being big, but it's like a more stage. You're like, I felt like
South Florida stress.
Some meatballs.
The meatballs are good.
I don't know. You get ready to go to Dave Country Club to eat too? We'll fuel up everywhere. This weekend is like 200. They got a ways to go. I'm in the 250 club.
Wouldn't be too hard for me.
It's easier to get over.
Yeah. Well, I can eat and just keep eating, you know? I don't get full anymore. I
You
feel like.
gotta just come down and go to Lolis for a week.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can get you to 2 1/4. We have you 2 1/4 in a week. Cheese dip, fries, wings, burgers.
I'm definitely going next time I'm down there.
that's true.
Roll over, maybe, doing our next
Like barking at you,
Right.
you're like walking out.
Yeah, but we gotta wait for babies.
It doesn't
Babies,
matter.
a little older. We have to do it next summer.
Next summer, perfect.
But
Yeah.
Next May is the perfect time.
I do need to get my arm due higher.
May's cool.
Memorial Day was, the water was so cold.
She's in the water.
Not a game where I'm cheering against it.
That's an unusual deal.
This purple shirt.
And then, I got London.
Yeah.
I know. I'm the best man. I've never been to Europe yet, so.
So you gotta go to Harris
Yeah.
for the 5-story hotel. It's got
Okay.
the greatest food you've ever seen.
Okay.
The pizza, the salmon,
Yeah, like they have like 2 good years out of 10, and then the other 8, they're like
salmon in there.
Yeah.
And nothing you've ever
like,
seen.
All right.
we're pretty
And then
good.
there's a place called Covent Garden on
Okay.
the Thames.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I'm gonna have to hit you up before we go.
Oh.
I'm trying to get us one day to Amsterdam.